There's been a lot happening at the club since my last video update. Obviously we've had Ladies County Championship and the Clutch Pro Tour, which kind of stopped some of the work that we've been wanting to do, but there's still been plenty going on. So I'll take you around the course and just show you what's been happening and a few of the plans for moving forwards. So one of the projects that was started before the Ladies County Championship was here was this new tee on the 3rd. So we really just wanted to get it all tidied up, get it finished, get it seeded up. Obviously this won't be in play this year, but hopefully for the spring next year, for it's a black tee ultimately. It's going to be used very rarely, but it'll be open for next season. Obviously that gets a lot of that area just over there a lot tidier as well. Obviously it's quite an impressive shot from back here, but it will also be used for kind of the 6. So we've got some woodland work to be doing here. Obviously we've got these trees along this left side here, but eventually it will be opened up and it will give you a line down. So we might actually use it as well as a black tee on the 6th. But it's nice to see a nice dead flat tee, and like I say, it gives you a great view down the 3rd. Just while I'm on the 3rd tee, David's out spraying the 5th green, so I'll take the opportunity to just show you what's going on. So greens have been cut and rolled this morning, and then David's then spraying with the hot weather coming up, just some kind of growing agents and sort of wetting agents just to try and keep the health in the green. Obviously we have a supply of water, however, rather than just flooding the greens on a daily basis, these wetting agents just help the greens to retain the moisture. We've also got a very slight compaction issue on the greens. So some of you have said that the greens are quite hard, you need to water them. We are watering them, but there is that compaction issue there. So ultimately what that compaction issue means is we hadn't, in hindsight, we hadn't done enough spiking throughout the winter, which is a machine that I'll show you later, which is going to obviously help to change that this winter. We hadn't done enough spiking through the winter, so it's just led to that compaction. So some of the chemicals that are in here will just help to break up that surface and just soften the greens up very slightly, and hopefully make them a little bit more playable for you guys. So after its repairs, the Air 2 G2 is finally here. So this is the air compressor. It's got 3 pins, you see the 3 spikes. It goes down into the green, and this fires air into the bottom of the green about 1 metre down. So you can hear it's quite noisy, but it's fairly invasive. So just obviously measuring, making sure on the practice green that it's doing what it's supposed to do. If I follow behind Dave, who's obviously going to be looking after this machine, you can see the holes that it leaves behind are fairly visible. So there's just those little pin bricks on the green, fairly visible. So we'll get the iron back out afterwards, and you won't even know it's done. But this is obviously great for the health of the turf. This, the way I would explain it is it's like a lightning strike underground, and it just allows all the water, air, nutrients, and roots to grow into. Just create space and keep the green as healthy as they can be. As you guys will be fully aware, one of the best ways to improve turf health is ultimately to put holes in it or take material away. So this is a new Procore machine. We've got one of these machines on order. Unfortunately, there's a bit of a lead time to get this machine, but you'll be seeing a lot of this machine over the next 2-3 years. So we've got one of these on hire 1 week per month for the next 4 or 5 months. So Jansen's out on the 5th tee. And obviously work has started on all the tee boxes. So one of the major projects over the next 6 months is to try and get as many holes and things and try and relieve as much compaction as possible, and try and promote grass growth and get the tees back to as healthy condition as we can possibly get them. So this machine can be used anywhere on the golf course. The nice part about this is it's pedestrian, so we can walk around with it. So it will be used on greens throughout the winter, be used on tees throughout the winter, and obviously on fairways to try and release some of that compaction out there on the fairway. Obviously the main goal now is to improve condition course wide. So project irrigation continues. I'm out on 8 at the moment, and we've had a slight change in plan on how we're kind of completing the project. So you can see here, this line here is actually one of the irrigation channels. So because of such a dry weather that we've had recently, we've made the decision to disregard the turf stripping. As you would have seen out on the 9th, some of that turf has just dried up and it's struggling to keep it alive. So it's a lot easier to get grass to grow through seed, and now obviously it's a lot quicker for Stephen Perry to get these projects completed. So we've now introduced, or David has introduced, a new root zone. So it's a slightly different colour. It's a slightly different structure. So this is brought in a truckload, and it's kind of a root zone fertilizer mix, and then we just add the seed in. So hopefully once we can get the water on, this will be growing pretty quick. This is the same top dressing or same mix that we're going to be using for the drainage lines as well. So that we'll be dressing those drainage lines. You would have seen it on the tees. It's already been used in the tees, and any bare areas out in the golf course, we're using this now across the golf course to try and get grass to grow and try and recover some of those areas. One of the major questions I've been asked is obviously why we haven't turned the irrigation system on. One of the things we're struggling with at the moment is compaction on the fairways. So we can turn them on, and they have been on, but we can't turn them on fully, in terms of we can't use as much water as we'd probably quite like to try and keep the ground a little bit softer and a little bit greener. Now the reason for that is because obviously where we haven't done anything to the fairways for 30 odd years, plus we've put all this heavy machinery on with drainage and mowers and everything else over the last however long, it's created compaction on the fairway. So ultimately all would happen is we turn the sprinklers on, the water would stand there and just run off and go straight into the drain lines. So we need to break up that soil structure over a period of time, and to allow the water to soak into the ground, and obviously allow the grass to utilise that water. So you'll start to see, I mean, we've bought new machinery. There's new machinery being delivered in the next few weeks that will allow us to kind of put holes in the fairways, allow us to scarify the fairways, and effectively, like I've said previously, treat these fairways as we have done for the greens and how we're now starting to on the tees. So Stephen Perry are now out on the 12th fairway. So they've now got to finish half of 12, then they've got 13 and 6 left to do for the fairway irrigation. So the irrigation system, like I say, is all live. It can be turned on. The guys over the next week or so are getting some training on the software. It's not quite as straightforward as just turn it on. It's water consumption, what's the most efficient way to use this new system. I mean, just to give you a little bit of an insight, to turn all of the fairway sprinklers on the 18th fairway and to allow them to complete 4 full rotations takes just over 4.5 hours. So it's time consuming. So we've got to utilise this software, utilise the technology to allow us to water different parts of the golf course at the right time and being as efficient as possible. One more bit of news. So on the 10th of June as well, we have got a new member of the team joining us. So Will will be joining as David's right-hand man. So Will comes from Bentley Golf Club and also worked with David at Crondon. So I'm sure he'll be a great addition to the team, and you're all welcome, and I'll introduce once he arrives. Have a good weekend, guys. Enjoy the bank holiday and play well.